that yoga really allows us the opportunity to focus in on ourselves, our breath, our spirit, and finding some calm for 1 hour in our crazy, hectic day. So I am thankful to be able to do that. We're going to get started. Just find a comfortable position wherever you're at. If you have a mat, that's awesome. If not, you can always do this on the floor. We will be on our knees some, so if your knees do bother you, you might want a blanket or a towel or something. Otherwise, you should be good to go. I mentioned earlier the props of the blocks if you wanted to use those, if you had any of those handy. If not, we can get through the practice absolutely without them. So let's go ahead and begin our practice. Find a comfortable position. This can either be on your back, it could be seated, whatever it is that's speaking to you, whatever it is that you want, you just find that comfortable position. We're going to close our eyes and just breathe. You don't have to do anything here. All you have to do is breathe. Just breathe right now. In the practice of yoga, we breathe in and breathe out through our nose. So just focus on that breath. Take this as an opportunity to arrive on your mat, to clear your mind of any thoughts that might be swirling. To allow yourself the grace and the self-care to give yourself the next hour to this practice. We all have a lot on our plate, and taking the time for yourself is one of the best things you can do. As you're inhaling, just notice the coolness of that breath. And on that exhale, that warmth. All you have to do is breathe. Now take that attention to that breath and just notice, are you breathing evenly? Does that inhale match with the exhale? Can you count it? As a 1, 2, 3, 4, and your exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whatever your number is, can you match both the inhale and the exhale? If at any time during this practice today you feel that it's becoming too much, you're becoming overwhelmed, your emotions are coming up, just reconnect with that breath. You can always take a moment, come into child's pose, and just breathe. The breath is a powerful tool, and use it. Use it to calm yourself, calm your spirit, and calm your mind. Now, if you like to set an intention or dedication for your practice, now is a beautiful time to do so. If you have a mantra that you like to follow or repeat, now is a great time to plant that seed. Take one more round of breath. And if you chose reclined position, press yourself back up into a comfortable seat. Still keeping your eyes closed, we're going to begin to warm up our body by dropping our right ear to our right shoulder. Trying to focus our attention on that left shoulder, not allowing it to ride up. If you want to, you can always press it away from yourself, or you can take your right hand to the left side of your head and just apply a little bit of pressure. Just feeling that stretch in that left side of your neck and breathing. And dropping your chin down to your chest, maybe swaying it back side to side. If there's a side of your neck that feels like there's a little bit more tension than the other, take some time, give that side some love. And just breathe. Rolling your left ear to your left shoulder, keeping that right shoulder from riding up. And if you'd like, taking that left hand to the right side of your head, just applying the slightest bit of tension. Release, rolling your head back, looking up at the ceiling or keeping your eyes closed, maybe swaying your head side to side. And slowly bring your head back up to center, opening your eyes. Let's inhale our arms up overhead, palms together, and then bring your arms down to cactus. We're really trying to press those shoulder blades together on the back side of our body, feeling a stretch here. And breathe. And inhale, arms back up overhead, down to cactus. And one more, up overhead and down to cactus. Let's take our right hand to our left knee, left hand to right. Exhale, rolling down, allowing your head to hang heavy. And inhale, rising, bringing your head up last. Exhale, rounding, letting your head hang heavy. And inhale back up. And one more, rounding, exhaling. And inhale back up. Release those arms, and we're going to wrap them across our body in a nice big hug, reaching for those shoulder blades on the back side of your body. With your elbows pointing forward, point them to the wall that's in front of you, really feeling that spread in the shoulder blades on your back. Just breathe. And release those arms and switch that hold. Whatever arm you had on top goes on the bottom. Reaching for those shoulder blades again, pointing those elbows towards that wall that's in front of you. And just breathe. Release those arms, and if you want to take shoulder rolls, take those shoulder rolls. You can go forward, you can go back, you can do nothing at all, whatever is speaking to you. Then from here, dropping that right hand to the mat, taking the left hand up overhead, bending into that right elbow. Now, in yoga, I always say you can play with a pose. So right now my palm is down. You can change that orientation and put that palm up towards the ceiling, and that's going to change how it feels in your arm. Find what feels good for you. Press up through that right hand, dropping that left hand back down to the mat, taking that right hand overhead. And once again, playing with that palm, finding what works best for you, where that stretch feels the best. And you can even take your gaze down to the floor, straight ahead, or up at the ceiling, whatever feels good for you and your neck. And press back up. From here, we're going to take our left hand to our right knee, our right hand behind us, coming into a gentle spinal twist. We're gazing over that right shoulder. And then back through center, taking that right hand to the left knee, left hand behind, gazing over that left shoulder. And coming back through center. We're going to come on to our hands and knees. So coming into tabletop pose, we want our fingers nice and wide on the mat, giving us lots of support. Our wrists are going directly underneath our shoulders. Our knees are directly underneath our hips. And we have our knees on our mat, one fist width distance apart. So just checking that, making sure that we are nice and stacked. We have good alignment, and the tops of our feet are pressing down into the mat, so we're engaging our legs as well. From here, we're going to drop our belly down to the mat, taking our gaze forward, coming into cow pose, pressing those shoulder blades together. Then rounding our back as we exhale, taking the spine up towards the ceiling, looking down at our knees, spreading those shoulder blades apart. And then inhaling for cow, dropping that belly, gaze forward. And exhale, rounding. Moving with your own breath at your own pace. Go through rounds of cat-cow. Now, as you're moving, if your body says it wants some movement in those hips, take that. You can circle those hips to the left, to the right. You can take some time to really drop one hip side to side. Just listen to whatever it is that your body wants. And then we're going to meet back in tabletop. So a nice neutral spine. We're going to extend our right leg back behind us, curling those toes into the mat and just pressing through the right heel. Then rocking forward, releasing that pressure, bending that knee, taking the heel up towards the ceiling. And we're going to pulse that heel up towards the ceiling. So we're going to do this 10 times. And release and bring that knee back down into tabletop. Extend that left leg back behind you, curling those toes into the mat and pressing through that heel. Rocking forward to release that pressure, bending that knee, taking the heel up towards the ceiling, and pulse it 10 times as well. And bringing that knee back to center. Extend your right leg back behind you and your left arm out front. Working on our balance here. And bring that elbow to your knee and back out. And elbow to knee and back out. And one more. Elbow to knee and back out. And lower back down. Extend that left leg back behind you and your right arm. Elbow to knee and back out. Elbow to knee, back out. And one more. elbow to knee, and back out, and lower back down. From here, take your right hand up towards the ceiling and thread it underneath your left arm, dropping the right side of your face down to the mat. Our bottom is still up in the air. Walking those fingers of your left hand out towards the edge of the mat as far as you can. And then focus your attention on that left armpit. Try to drop it down towards the mat. And just breathe. Slide that left hand back in and press yourself back up to tabletop. This time we're going to take our left hand overhead, thread it underneath our right, dropping the left side of our face to the mat, walking those right fingers up towards the edge of the mat, trying to drop that right armpit down to the mat, and just breathe. Slide the fingers of your right hand back in, press yourself back up into tabletop, and then onto your knees. We're going to move with our breath here. So we're taking our arms up overhead, and as we exhale, we're going to bring our belly to our thighs and our seat to our heels. So as we press our arms down, pretend like you're pressing through water like we're swimming. So exhale, pressing with those arms, belly to thigh, seat to heels, forehead down to your mat. Inhale to rise slowly with control, moving with your breath. And exhale back down, pressing through that invisible water, belly to thighs, seat to heels. Inhale to rise. And one more, exhale. Inhale back up. And we go ahead and lower our arms down. Extend your left leg out to the side of your mat. The pinky edge of your foot is down. We're going to stack ourselves over our hip, trying to keep a nice straight torso. I'm going to take our arms up overhead. Now, this can be an intense stretch, so if it becomes too much, stay here in this position. We're going to begin to hinge at our waist, folding forward, taking our seat down towards our heel, taking our hands down to the floor. Now, if it becomes too much, dial back the intensity, and you can always raise back up to the original pose. And just breathe. Slide your hands back in and press yourself back up. Bringing that left leg back in and extending that right leg. The pinky edge of our foot is down. We are trying to stack our torso straight over that left leg. We're going to take our arms back up overhead, dropping our seat down to our heels and extending those arms out in front. And just breathe. Slide those hands back in and press yourself back up. We're going to bring that right leg back in and come back into tabletop. From here, we're going to curl our toes under and just rock back on them, giving us a nice little toe stretch. And if that's too much, you can always come right back up to tabletop. From here, rock forward, and pressing with those toes, we're going to hover our knees off of the mat. Then take your seat up and back for down dog. Now here we're going to take nice, deep, generous knee bends. We haven't been using our legs yet, so let's bring some movement and blood to those legs. Just feeling into your body, noticing what feels good and what might be uncomfortable. From here, take your right foot up to the ceiling and do a couple ankle rolls, forward and back. And then we're going to swing this right foot up to our hands and place it on the outside of our right hand. So we're coming into dragon or lizard pose. So when we're doing this, we want to kind of keep these hips flat to our mat, and this hip is wide open. So let me change my orientation so you can see. So we have our right foot to the outside of our right hands. So this is falling wide. We're trying to keep those hips flat, our back flat. And we might be feeling into this left hip. So just breathe. Take that right foot back behind you, coming into plank pose. So when we're in plank, we're looking to keep our wrists directly underneath our shoulders. We're on our toes, and we're trying to keep a flat back. So from the crown of our head all the way down to our heels should look flat. We don't want our seat up, and we don't want it too far down. And take your seat back for down dog. Breathe here. Take those nice deep knee bends again. You might notice we haven't even done that much, but your heart rate might be increasing. Your breath rate might be increasing. This time, take your left foot up to the ceiling. Do a couple of ankle rolls to the left, to the right. And then swing that left foot to the outside of your left hand, like we did on the opposite side, allowing that left hip to open up, trying to keep our back here nice and flat. And you might be feeling a stretch in that right hip. So just breathe. Take that left foot back to meet your right, settling back into your plank again, and then dropping your knees down to the mat. If you want to take a break, now is a great time. You can rock back and rest in child's pose. You can take your knees the width of the mat and rest in a little bit deeper of a child's pose, taking your forehead to the mat And extending your arms out in front. If the arm extension is uncomfortable, you can always stack your palms and rest your head. A great opportunity to reconnect with your breath and just notice if it's changed from that even breath we worked on at the beginning of the practice. Now press yourself back up. We're coming back into tabletop again. So from here, we're going to extend our left leg back behind us, transferring our weight to our right hand and taking that left hand up overhead. Now here, if you want more, you can take that left leg up off of the mat. And then if you want even more, you can pulse that leg up towards the ceiling. And lower back down, lower your hand back down to the mat, and come back in to your tabletop. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, extending our right leg back behind us, transferring our weight to our left hand, taking that right hand up overhead, and bringing that right leg off of the mat. And if you want, you can pulse that right leg up towards the ceiling. And lower back down. Coming back into your tabletop. Curl your toes and press yourself up to down dog. Now from here, we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. But remember, at any point in time, if it becomes too much, you can always come back down to the mat for child's pose. Take your right foot up to the ceiling. Swing it through between your hands at the front of your mat. If you have to pick it up, that is okay. Pressing yourself up, coming into a high lunge. We're on the ball of our back foot, bending into this right knee. Taking our arms up overhead, rolling the shoulder blades up, back, and down. Gazing forward. From here, we're going to drop that left heel down to the mat, opening our hips wide. Gazing over the middle finger of our right hand. Taking our right hand up overhead, taking the left hand down to our leg. Coming back through center. Bending that right elbow, taking it down to our right knee, and our left hand overhead. Cartwheel your hands down to the mat, rotating to the ball of your left foot. Step your right foot back, coming into plank, and then back for down dog. This time, take your left foot up to the ceiling and swing it through to meet your hands at the front of your mat. Pressing yourself up to a high lunge, rolling those shoulders up, back, and down. Dropping that right heel to the mat, opening up those hips, bending into that left knee, and gazing over your left middle finger. Dropping your right hand down to your thigh, taking your left hand overhead. Coming back through center, bending that left elbow, taking it to your knee, and right hand overhead. Cartwheel your hands back down to the mat, rotating to the toes of your right foot, and step that left foot back. Plank, and then back for down dog.
Slowly walk yourself to the front of your mat, coming into a full forward fold, allowing your head to hang heavy. Rolling up one vertebrae at a time, slowly with control, bringing your head up last, taking your hands up overhead, palms together, down through heart center, and sit back in your chair. Take your right elbow to your left knee, and back through center, left elbow to right knee, back through center. From here, you have an option. If you want to rock up to your toes, you can. If you want to keep your heels down and just raise your toes off of the mat, you can. You can stay flat-footed if you want. From here, press up, slight back bend, and full forward fold. Just breathe. Walk your hands to the right side of your mat. Walk them back through center and over to the left side of your mat. And back through center. Plant your hands, step back for plank. And up for down dog. Take your right foot up to the ceiling, swing it through to meet your hands at the front of your mat. And take your torso up. We're in a lower lunge, trying to keep that left knee really bent. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate open. So we're going to rotate to that left heel, open up our hips, and sit back for a squat. Then we're going to rotate those toes back. Come into the left knee just hovering off of the mat. Then we're going to rotate, dropping that heel back down to the mat, coming into a squat. And then rotating back again onto the ball of that left foot. Step that left foot forward to meet the right. Coming into tree pose. So for tree, it's a balance pose. We're going to transfer our weight to our left foot, taking our right off of the mat. We don't want it around our knee. We can have it lower, or you can bring it up higher, whatever works for you. If you're concerned about balance, keep it just on your toes so that you have a kickstand. Whatever works best for you. And then grow your arms, grow your branches wherever you can. And just breathe. And release and come down. I'm going to do the same thing on the left, so transferring our weight to our right leg, taking our left off of the mat, wherever's comfortable for you for your balance, and growing your branches. And back down. Lower that left foot back down. We're coming into a full forward fold. Plant your hands and step back for plank. And then back for down dog. This time, taking your left foot up to the ceiling and swing it through to meet your hands at the front of your mat. Pressing yourself up. This time, we're keeping that right knee just hovering off of the mat. Then we're going to drop that right heel open, coming into our squat. And then rotate back. And then rotate open. Rotate back. And rotate open. Back. Step this right foot forward to meet your left. Come into a full forward fold. Now from here, interlace your fingers behind your back and take those fingers up towards the ceiling, letting your head hang heavy. And just breathe. Release your hands. Reverse swan dive, arms up overhead, palms together, and down through heart center. Inhale your arms up overhead, hinging at the waist. Fold forward. Half lift, bringing your hands to your shins, flat back, looking at just that front edge of your mat. Full forward fold, plant your hands, step back for plank. Drop your knees down to the mat and lower yourself down. From here, we're going to keep our elbows hugged in next to our chest, pressing up through our hands, inhaling our chest up and exhaling down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And one more. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Plant your hands, curl your toes, press up for plank. And back for down dog. Slowly walk your way to the front of your mat. Reverse swan dive, arms up overhead, hands together, down through heart center. Working on another balance pose this time. We're going to work on a modified eagle. So we're going to transfer our weight to our right foot. Take that left just up off of the mat. If you feel good here, cross that left foot over that right knee. And if you feel good, sit back in your chair. Find something out in front of you that's not moving. And focus your attention on it. And if you fall, that's okay. Yoga is a practice. It is not a perfect. And press yourself up. This time we're going to transfer our weight to our left leg, taking that right up off of the mat. If you feel good, cross that right foot over your leg and sit back in your chair. And you might find that one side is more stable than the other. That is not unusual. Just breathe. Press yourself up and come into a full forward fold. From here, tent your fingers, bend your knees, and lower yourself down to the mat. We're going to come onto our seat. Our legs are extended out in front of us. We can tent our fingers back behind us for some support, so we're just on those fingertips. We're going to raise those heels up off of the mat, keeping our knees together. We don't want them to fall wide. If you feel good and supported here, you can take your hands and wrap them around your thighs. If you feel good, you can extend your arms by your side. And if you want to, you can always straighten your legs. From here, tent your fingers back behind you again and extend your legs long. And then press yourself back up. Extend and back up. Then one more. Extend, back up. Lower those heels down. Let those knees fall wide and round into a release of butterfly. Another great opportunity to reconnect with your breath.
We haven't moved very fast during this practice, but you might have noticed that your heart rate has increased and the quickness of your breath has also changed. Allow this release in butterfly as a chance to reconnect with that breath and see if you can't even it back out again so that the length of your inhale matches the length of that exhale. And slowly roll up, bringing your head up last. Extending your right leg long and bringing that heel of your right foot in. We're just going to round over our right leg, reaching for our toes, but if you can't get there, that's okay. Your ankle, your shin, the floor, whatever you got. Let that head hang heavy and just release and breathe. Notice if you're engaging that kneecap. Try to release that kneecap if you can. Release and roll up, bringing your head up last. Extending that left leg long and bringing that right heel in. Once again, just rounding, reaching for your foot. If you can't get there, it's okay. Your ankle, your shin, the floor, your thigh, whatever you got, just go for it. This is your practice. Focus on that kneecap. See if it's engaged or released. And can you release that? And in this pose, you might be feeling a stretch along that whole back side of your left leg, and you might even be feeling it in that lower side of your right back. As long as you are feeling something that is not pain or stabbing, you are doing it just right. Every body is different, and so every body will feel something a little bit different. And slowly roll up, bringing your head up last. Extending your legs long and out in front of you. With control, lower down to the mat until you can't anymore and you flop over. Just let your arms fall wide and just take a couple of rounds of breath together. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And one more. Inhale and exhale. Bring the bottoms of your feet to the mat, about 10 inches away from your seat. Palms are down on the mat. When we inhale, we're going to raise our belly up towards the ceiling. So inhale, grounding down through those heels, taking that belly up towards the ceiling. Try rolling those shoulder blades underneath you if you can. It makes it a little bit more comfortable. Try not to let those knees fall wide, trying to keep them parallel with our hips. And exhale, rolling down with control, one vertebrae at a time. Trying to match that exhale with our movement. And inhale back up, grounding down through those feet. And exhale, rolling down with control, one vertebrae at a time. And then we're going to go for one more. So inhale up. This time, exhale out all of your air and roll down in that void. Notice how that belly pulls in just a little bit more. Then from here, extend your legs long on the mat and walk them over to the left side of your mat. Coming into banana pose. If you would like, you can take that right heel and cross it over the left. Then we're going to take our elbows and shoulders and shimmy them over to the left side of our mat as well. Trying to keep that right hip from riding up, rolling it back down to the mat. Extending our arms long and overhead. So if you looked at us from overhead, we would look like a banana. And just breathe here. And you might feel a stretch all the way from your ankle, all the way through that right side of your body, up through your arm, and all the way to your fingertips. If you feel a stretch at any point, you are doing it just right. Take this as an opportunity to reconnect with that breath. Notice the coolness of the inhale, that warmth of the exhale. Try to get back to that even breath once again. Invite your mind to quiet and settle in these moments of stillness. It's in that quiet that the magic of yoga can really happen. Slowly release your ankles and walk them back to the center. Bringing your arms back down to the side and bringing your torso back to center. If you want movement, take movement. If you want stillness, that is your option as well. If you took movement, extend your legs long once again on your mat. Walking your heels over to the right side of your mat. If you want, you can cross that left ankle on top of your right. And then using your arms, shift your shoulders over to the right side of your mat. Trying to drop that left hip back down to the mat, not allowing it to roll up. Extend your arms overhead and to the right. And just breathe.
you have to do is breathe. Begin to release your ankles, walking them back to center. Bringing your torso back to center. If you want movement, take movement. If you want stillness, that is an option as well. Find whatever works best for you. And take a few rounds of breath. And then find your comfortable position for Shavasana. Now that might mean laying on the floor, legs extended. That could mean your feet on the floor, knees bent. That could mean being in an easy seat and closing your eyes and reconnecting with your breath. Find whatever works best for you. Begin to bring your awareness to your breath. Slowly breathe in and breathe out. Take another deep breath in and out. Relax your brow and drop your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Soften your jaw. Let go of any tension and any worries you might have right now. Just let them go with the exhale. Allow yourself to breathe in relaxation and breathe out tension. If there are any areas that are still tense, breathe relaxation into those areas. And as we settle in for Shavasana, let me plant this seed. Be love. Show love. Give love. Manifest love. Teach love. And be love.
Take another deep breath. Allow yourself to be filled with peace, calm, and relaxation. You may begin to feel more and more alert as you are lying there. And when you're ready, begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes, stretching your arms, opening your eyes, and allowing yourself to come back into this space. And when you're ready, roll to your right side and press yourself up to a seated position. Let's take one more round of breath together. Inhaling our arms up overhead, palms together, and down through heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and namaste.